It's not often that I play a game and think, wow, I've not done that before, but I must say Webbed offers some truly unique physics-based arachnid puzzles. You play as a spider whose boyfriend is captured by a big mean bowerbird. To get airborne and save your spider love, you need to construct a sort of silken hot air balloon. A soldier ant at the start gives you the blueprint for the machine and directs you to where you'll find the required parts, which are scattered around a fantasy version of Australia's Queensland. As you'd expect with a spider game, web slinging is central, firing webs and swinging around the world is a fluid dream. You can use your silk for three things: to swing and climb, to attach to objects, or to fire as a projectile. There's no real combat in the game, death comes from environmental hazards. It is all about the puzzles and what inventive puzzles they are. Now the game doesn't always tell you what to do or how to use your web abilities. This is something you have to discover for yourself. Initially I thought getting a pipe from a pool of water up to a high platform would be impossible without some form of upgrade, but I was proven wrong, and this is where the web spinning mechanics really offer something unique. You have full control of where to fire your yarn, you can use it to tether things, to move switches, to create bridges and to stick things together. It's clever stuff with realistic and very logical physics. Webbed at times feels like a Metroidvania because of its map design and puzzles, but you don't get any new abilities that allow you to access new areas. It's actually the player's way of thinking that must evolve in each area to solve puzzles and complete objectives. All in all, Webbed is a marvellous little game full of surprises. It has a wonderful pixel art style and a charming soundtrack. Throw in some bug dancing and spider skateboarding and you have an Indie of the Year contender. Get stuck into Webbed now on the PC via Steam. Kraken Academy is not your typical school. For starters, the art teacher has a bird in his hair, you have a friend who has a floret of broccoli for a head, and there's a giant kraken living in the nearby lake who communicates with you in toilet cubicles. The game is a top-down adventure with a lovely pixel art style, reminiscent of 16-bit RPGs from the 1990s. Perhaps the biggest influence here though is Zelda's Majora's Mask, as you're trapped in a time loop with 3 days to save the world. To do this, you need to free 4 spirits trapped within characters from the 4 different academic faculties: art, music, sport and drama. This is not an action RPG, but a character-driven affair that is not too dissimilar to a visual novel, particularly with the cute anime art style interpolated into the pixel aesthetic. There are occasional quick-time events during conversations, which sometimes seem a bit out of place and disrupt the flow of the game, but these can be simplified in the settings menu. Kraken Academy features an engaging story with memorable characters, bizarre goings-on, and your typical teenage angst. It's available now on various PC storefronts. The Gardener and the Wildvines is a fairy tale for the 21st century. It's a refreshingly subversive take on the typical Rapunzel plot, where you play as a gay gardener climbing towers to rescue a prince. Throw in an evil magician who spirits the prince away, a cynical knight and a pirate, and you have a story which twists and turns more than the vines that wrap themselves around the towers of the game. Equipped with a pair of shears, your love-struck gardener is tasked with deadheading flowers growing on each tower. With each cut, you're propelled upwards. At the same time, new vines sprout along with leaves and more flowers. As you progress through the game, new mechanics are introduced and towers become bigger and more intricately designed. With a great story, really likeable characters and satisfying platform mechanics, The Gardener and the Wildvines is an indie gem definitely worth checking out. The Rewinder is a 2D puzzle adventure inspired by traditional Chinese folklore. In the game, you take on the role of the last Rewinder, Yun, who can travel back in time to alter the course of history. The game plays like a typical point-and-click adventure, with you tasked with investigating the disappearance of spirits from a village. There's a wonderful story here, and one where the less said, the better. The most unique aspect of the game though is the ability to enter memories of characters and alter the past. This is where the game gets its Rewinder name. Each memory is like playing an interactive video. You can pause time to investigate the scene and enter a character's thoughts. Here you collect senses which can be used to sway other characters' intentions, thus ultimately changing what happens and altering the past. If you mess up, you can rewind the memory and try again. It's a fascinatingly original gameplay mechanic. All of these memories are connected to the overarching story, with characters overlapping in each. The more you uncover, the more you piece together what happened to the inhabitants of the village. If you fancy the idea of being a paranormal Poirot in a world steeped in Chinese history, give the Rewinder a try now on PC and the Nintendo Switch. Fans of Terraria and Minecraft definitely need to check out Residual, a procedurally generated pixel art platformer with resource management mechanics. You play as a lone explorer who crash lands on an alien planet with only your robot sidekick for company. Compared to those aforementioned and iconic crafting games, Residual is a much more simple, compact affair, and unlike those games, you're unable to alter the makeup of the landscape. I was initially expecting shovels, pickaxes and the like to dig below the surface. Instead, to descend, you must solve puzzles, which revolve around crafting. For example, to activate an elevator, you need to jam a stick into the control console and install an energy source to power it up. There's no combat in the game, your goal is to get all the necessary resources to fix your ship and escape the planet. As you play, there are several things you need to keep your eye on. The game operates on a day-night cycle, you have a stamina bar, and you need to sleep often. You also need to procure food and eat regularly. This is not designed to be a Terraria beta. In fact, I'd say it's a great game for those who don't play a lot of crafting games, as you're pretty limited in what you can do and things never get overwhelming. Residual is a lovely, bite-sized survival experience. Check it out now on the PC and Nintendo Switch, with more console ports due early next year. Being a big fan of action roguelites, I'm actually surprised it's taken me so long to finally get around to playing Arboria, a game that gets its 1.0 release this week after being in early access on Steam for over a year. Now, I can't really comment on what the game was like when it first released. I do know that it received quite mixed reviews initially, but what I can say is that the final build plays wonderfully and is a super satisfying addition to the genre. You play as a Jotun, a troll tasked with healing the Father Tree and restoring power to your tribe. In typical roguelite fashion, you begin in a hub world which features shops, upgrade stations and characters to talk to. Jump in the hall, as it's called, in the centre of the hub, and your run begins. Gameplay takes inspiration from Souls-like games, with combat slow and methodical and features mostly huge melee weapons. If you fall in battle, which you will do many times, your flying sprite companion grabs your head and returns you to the hub world, where a new Jotun is born from the Father Tree. Let's be honest, Arboria is an ugly game, but deliberately so. We are dealing with trolls after all. Look beyond the grotesque, and there's something beautiful here. I can tell the game has been a labour of love for the development team. They've clearly listened to feedback and worked hard to make the game the best it can be for its full release. If you haven't tried it yet, now's the perfect time, or if you've got it uninstalled somewhere in your Steam library, I urge you to give it another go. Also out this week is the Artful Escape, another hotly anticipated release from Annapurna Games. On the eve of his first performance, Francis Vendetti battles with the legacy of a dead-fought legend and the cosmic wanderings of his own imagination. In this 2D adventure platformer, Francis, a teenage guitar prodigy, sets out on a psychedelic, multi-dimensional journey to inspire his stage persona. This one's already been getting rave reviews from critics. It's available on PC and Xbox and can be played for free if you're an Xbox Game Pass subscriber.
I've decided to create the most elaborate stage persona the world has ever seen.
Okay. Will you be down for dinner? We're having enchiladas.
And that's it for this week in indie gaming. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the I Love Indies channel and also hit that like button to help feed the algorithm. I'll leave you with a quick look at two other indie gems released this week, both featuring dice as a key part of the gameplay mechanics. Up first is EA's Tim Burton-esque Lost in Random, and playing us out is the awesome survival city builder Dice Legacy. Enjoy. Until the next video guys, keep loving indies.
The world of random bends with the roll of one dice. A dice that has ruled this kingdom for generations, transforming the fates of people just like you. But what if I told you there is another dice with the power to change everything. Now, my friend, it's your turn to rule, to play the odds, and break the curse of random.
Well, well.
You can't have the sweet without the sour.
No, Dicey. They should be scared of us. Right?
Fate brought us here, stranded on this unknown continent. Fate conspired against us. But together, we built a settlement. We ventured into the unknown. We gathered knowledge. We established a society. We survived harsh winters and resisted the onslaught of a mysterious population. We conducted experiments and we made sacrifices. In an attempt to escape our fate. Fate, oh cruel fate.